everybody. As Ali already said, I am your feature poet for tonight, and I could not be more ecstatic that I am up here right now. I've never been a feature poet before, but by no means let that dissuade you from the fact that this is going to be an excellent show, and you're going to have a great time. Perfect! That's the first thing I wanted to talk about. So, before I came to St. John's, which only happened about 8 or 9 weeks ago, I did slam in Vancouver, where there has been a continuous weekly slam ever since the 90s. So, that's 20 years. That's not too bad. It's in fact the longest running slam in all of Canada. And there are a few things that I would really like to bring over here. This is not exactly a slam, because usually there's some element of competition with that, but as far as an open mic is concerned, I think these rules are going to translate nicely. So, the first one you already heard, snapping. One of the fundamental and important differences between just reading a poem on a page and experiencing a poem in a spoken word context, like the one that we have here, is that, well, it's the obvious one. It's that you guys are here. It's that you can participate in the poems that we create, and our poems can participate in your lives. So, if you hear something that connects with you, if you hear something that hadn't connected with you before, but all of a sudden has made something clear, if an epiphany jumps out of your brain because you're listening to a poem, or just, you're feeling good, please give the poem a snap. Give it 2 snaps. Give it, a little movement. It's good. That visual cue is good as well. It's not just the snapping in the audio. I can see you people. The lighting is pretty hardcore, but I can actually see you. And then the only other rule, there are a whole bunch of rules that go around this other slam, but the spirit of them can basically be boiled down to, we find nothing, we accept basically everything except those who don't accept others, because we find that exceptionally unacceptable. With perhaps one exception, which is that we don't want to accept those who don't accept people who like to accept themselves. So, please join me tonight for this awesome poetry reading that we're going to have. I'm going to give you one piece right now. We're going to welcome some people on stage, and then I'll return right at the end. So this first piece, I'll tell you a little bit about. This is called William McCoy. It's a story about rum running during the Prohibition. So here we go. William McCoy hauled freight, on time, never late, business great, and profits climbing. But as per fate, new state roads allowed the traders to incorporate, never known by those below for the flow of their timing. The new state roads were great for some, but not William, kids, wife, dad, mum. And it's constant now, half-hearted and hard to see. The shipping lanes died, and stock now pumped through asphalted arteries. And what do we find but William fell on hard times? No bacon or bread for dinner plates made thoughts in the head turn to hard crime. I mean, how hard could it be? His life was the sea, especially when the law behind that 3-mile line post-maritime is so loosely defined. So, one night after broth and bread, Willie didn't head to bed. He couldn't take it anymore, moored tight to the shore, so he tacked his cap to the door and his pride, bringing it out once more. They had to sell all they had at bad, deflated pricing, always slicing and dicing, but no fighting could right things. Sometimes it's just important to take what life brings, especially when it's not to your liking. But amid all this price hiking, saw a bid on a boat quite enticing, so now, by hook or by crook, Willie was in the business, but held aloft by little more than kite strings. At night, time to sail, down to the southern hemisphere, filling boatloads of fear-shrouded cheer. Fill her to the tiller, boys, Willie said whenever she broke near. No gear, that's the way it was planned, just the tiller and a steady hand to steer the contraband. International waters, the drama couldn't find them. From the bosom of the Bahamas to the mouth of Long Island, that hungry whore drank, got all merry to sing, and he got some thanks for what he'd ferry and bring. He had capital now. He could make a life for his family. He didn't care how, as long as they were happy. And after a while of these midnight vacations, Willie got a kind of styled reputation for patience and fairness and extreme moderation. Not a drop passed his lips, just no need for the booze. He would never choose to lose what he had in his grip. He would never risk it in case he might slip. He would sacrifice himself in a second. if he would never let his family go down with his ship. He steered clear of the law, paid no mind or money to gangsters. Protection wasn't for him. He just pitched his riches to the bankers. He even bought another boat, treated her well, never sank her. He only sold the best, never cut, not a drop. No one ever went blind like that moonshining lot, and no poisons, well, no other poisons were brought. Now, the law didn't matter, you see, because all that led to was the speakeasy scene. Lean average people would lose their lives and their houses to the impound, all for a product that's made for a plant that grows in the ground. Prohibition made everything worse. It bred organized crime. The drug wars of now have their roots in this time. You see, where there's demand, there will always be lines. Hell, the Kennedys made their money giving light to the shine. But Willie's number was up. The time came at last for what he knew all along would in time come to pass. They raided his boat, made it quick, made it fast. He fought like hell, held strong to the mast. But even with all going well, there's not much a boat can do but share the fate of diving bells against the roar of 4-inch shells. Now his hopes fell through. Mirrored by his boat and its watery tomb. No trial of whodunit, arrested illegally, though he'd never sipped it. His only words before he was put in the sty, I was outside the 3-mile limit, selling whiskey, good whiskey and rye, to anyone and everyone who wanted to buy. They put him in jail, never caught when he got out, but I have no doubt that he made a few more midnight vacations down south.